Hello and welcome to the Prosperity Portal podcast. I'm your host, Jill Alana, and I'm here to support you in everything you need to prosper in health, wealth, and relationship. I'm obsessed with everything manifestation, soul path, intuition, somatic embodiment healing. And I'm looking forward to supporting you in liberating to a life of love and luxury. True empowerment, true sovereignty, and aligned soul manifestation. I'm the founder of Jill Alana International, Jai Activations, and Jai Breathwork. And without further ado, let's go to the show and get you resourced in everything pro your spirit. Hello, beauties. I am coming on today with my amazing friend Chance, who's also in my Surrendering into Abundance program, who's been asking some amazing questions. And a couple of them he asked me, and I thought, you know what? A lot of people probably have these questions, so why don't we do a Instagram live so you can all learn and get some codes and some insights. Hey, Bikram. And yeah, so we are here doing that. I'm just waiting for him. Please bear with me. Oh, there he is. I am just learning technology. Awesome. I think that worked.
Yo, I'm on.
Oh, hello. Yay. I'm learning technology. Thank you so much for joining me, Chance. I just gave you an epic intro.
Oh, I missed it.
You can watch it after.
All right. Sweet.
I'll give it again. This is my dear friend Chance, who's in my abundance program and asking amazing questions. He does commercial real estate. Is that what you do?
Residential right now, getting into some Airbnb and flipping and all sorts of stuff. So yeah.
Cool. So if you need a real estate agent, or want to make some investments,
I'm on the investor side, so I don't do the real estate agent side. It's like just the investor side. So the off market. So close. You're close.
Okay.
You're close.
If you need, what would they come to you for?
If they have money just sitting around and they want to make money on that money, I know where to put it so they can go make money in it. And then the thing is, if you were to invest, it's like I could be like, that's where your money is in that physical building there. So it's not like a stock or whatever thing like that. So
yes,
so yeah.
It's an actual tangible investment. So go to Chance for that. He knows the energetics. He's learning very quickly the energetics of manifestation. He knows the goal size. He's known that for a while. He's an amazing person. And yeah, I totally forgot your question. So you're going to have to ask again. And if anybody in the chat has any questions during this transmission, then I'm so happy to answer those as well. But let's start with your questions that you asked.
So one of the questions I had was, you sent me a link to your story about your morphed eye, which I kind of laughed because you're like, if I were to quote you, I'm going to quote you the best I can. You're like, I'm not going to live the rest of my life with a freaking morphed eye, you know. And I just lost it. That is such a Jill thing, and I was just laughing. But you know, aside from the humor in that statement, is I was really thinking about it. And so one of the things I really struggled with is I would get into a relationship, and generally the girls that I was dating before, Megs has been absolutely wonderful. So I got a little of my mindset up to that girl. That girl's abundant.
We love
it's crazy.
Megs.
I love Meg. But anyways, previous partners I've been with, is their mindsets is like I'd be living at a much higher level of abundance. Money would be flowing, gifts would be flowing, and I'd have this sense of magic with me. And it always seemed like when I was single, I'd have this sense of magic. Mm-hmm. And then it would be like they would start planting these little seeds in my mind that would like eventually they would wear at me, and then my magic would fade, or different stories people would put on me. And the one thing I really liked about your story, and I really, really wanted to hear more, was there was a medical professional. And this medical professional, you know, they have a lot of weight in the Western society. You know, what a doctor says goes, you know?
Yeah.
And so anyways, this doctor goes and tells you, you come there with your freaking morphed eye, and you're like, have a look at it. I hope I can heal it. And this doctor's like, no, not happening. 75% chance you're going blind, Jill. Don't go down to Dr. Joe's. Don't go do what your heart is telling you what to do. And the thing I found really profound about your story is you're like, no, I'm not living the rest of my 3D life with this morphed eye. I'm not accepting this. This is not a thing. And I think the most profound part of the story is when you went down to Dr. Joe's, you wouldn't even speak about it, and I find that very fascinating, because usually when we have any trauma, we have any issues, so many of us will wear that as a badge of honor, especially like I'm a small town kid coming out to Vancouver. One of the craziest things in Vancouver is like, I would talk to people at the grocery store, and this one girl, she was counting the money, and she'd crumple the money, put it out, crumple the money, put it out. And I'm like, well, what's going on? She's like, I'm dyslexic, I'm blah, 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 I'm this, I'm this. She named off like 5 different things of what she was. And all these labels of things, I was like, oh man, like that's real rough. And the one thing I found really profound is you're like, no morphed eye, no blindness, fuck that. I'm living my 3D life without it. And I guess my question was like, what went through your mind, and how did you become aware not to even mention it at Dr. Joe's? Because you didn't tell anyone about your morphed eye. You're walking around with a big pussy thing,
It was awful.
Yeah, stick it out your eye, but you never brought it up.
A number of things here. Thank you so much. Hey, Colin. Hey, Bikram. So lovely to work with you guys. To see you here. So there's a few things like I want to say, like the power of our words. I was just actually talking to my business coach about this, and she's very into energy and manifestation, all the things, and she's super freaking powerful, as am I. And she's like, you need to be careful what you say, because there's this thing called the law of assumption, which is like essentially manifestation, but instead of co-creating, we're creating. We are the creator, because we truly are. Like, we are part of the divine, of God, of source, the universe, whatever you want to call it, infinite intelligence. So we really create our own realities based on our beliefs. It's the Beckar model. So it's a beliefs, emotions, thoughts, choices, actions, reality. And stay with me. I know I'm kind of getting off track, but it all loops back. So
I'll bring it back.
I had this was not at the beginning of like my manifestation journey, so to speak. Like, I had already seen a lot of miracles, like literally tumors there and then gone at intense energy healings. I had seen people, like one of my other mentors as well, she's amazing. They told her she'd never be able to walk again, and she healed that. And like, so all of these, and people having Lyme's disease that was gone, and Crohn's and gone. And like, this might sound crazy, but like 2 months prior, I had met somebody who was almost legally blind, and then all of a sudden his vision was perfect. And then I met another girl there as well, where she had glasses, prescription was like pretty bad, and all of a sudden she could see again. And like, these were like, at the time, they were huge expanders for me, but I did not know. So funny, Meg's just messaged me. I did not know that they were that. So that's one thing, is like, the more, like, a lot of these things are unbelievable until you experience them or you see them. And usually you see them, so it builds your belief in them, and then you experience them. And so for me, like, I had seen so many of these things that were not necessarily conventional medicine, where people were miraculously healed, and it can happen like that, but it's with the belief. Like, if you go to intense healing centers, and I have a story about this that just happened actually last week, where they do a lot of energy healing. Sometimes they mix modern Eastern medicine. The people that heal, and the moment they heal is when they feel so whole, and they feel so much love, because love truly heals all. And what I mean by that is the frequency of love, the vibration of love heals all, whether that's emotional, physical, whatever it is. And that's also like the greatest vibration to manifest from, or one of them. So they heal when they believe that they can, and they're in that higher frequency. And I've seen this, like Dr. Joe talks about this, and that's where he healed my eye, like time and time again. The moment people heal, or the moment people manifest, is when they just are so in love with life that they don't care if they actually do. And that's like one of the biggest things, is the power of belief. Because if we don't believe it's possible, it's not possible in our reality, period. Like, it's, if I didn't believe that was possible, it would not have been possible. So because I had seen so much and experienced so much, and it still boggles my mind with like manifestation, like seeing people manifest or myself manifesting, like we are so powerful in our belief. So going into that retreat and leaving Canada and having, it wasn't only my optometrist, but he was also my friend. So not only did I trust him as like an optometrist, but I also trusted him as a friend. But I knew at that point in my journey the power of belief and this inner knowing. So it's like our thoughts, and then on the next level, it's what we believe unconsciously and subconsciously, because that's what is important, not necessarily what we think we believe, but what we actually believe in our unconscious and subconscious. And then there's this knowing, and that is like another level. And I just knew, like I had to take a moment and tune in. I didn't even tell him I was going, but I tuned in, and what was presented from Spirit was, you have to walk your talk. So I picked up and I left, and I almost missed my flight because of that appointment. He opened the clinic early for me, and I just knew that, like, it was just an inner knowing. By that point, it was past the belief. And so I went there, and I saw a lot of people I knew, but of course my eye was pussing and like disgusting, and I couldn't go in the sun because like I couldn't, like, it was a very infected corneal ulcer, like right near my cornea. So I like hermited for most of the retreat. Whenever I would see friends, they would like ask, and I just wouldn't talk about it. There's a great book on this. Hey Kelly, I'll see you soon. I'll see her at Dr. Joe retreat actually. There's a great book on this called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, where Dr. Joe talks about identity. And when we identify with something, or when we have these like
break the what? The book?
Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Okay.
Yeah. So when we talk about this old identity, whether that is like we're chronically ill, or we're chronically poor, or we always manifest, or we always have this type of partner, or we'll always be alone, we're literally identifying with that, therefore it becomes our reality. So I already had this knowledge, so I wasn't going to talk about it and talk about what was going on, because as you talk about it, you create it in your reality. So I was committed to creating a reality without that, and it was literally a miracle. If you guys want to, I'm not going to tell this whole story right now, but there is a story on my page, and it's also on YouTube and in my Facebook group. I have a free Facebook group if you guys want, on manifestation. But I knew if I talked about it, I was going to create that reality. So what did I do? I set this intention that it would be healed, and it did get healed, but then they told me I was going to have a white scar on my eye for the rest of my life. And it was so morphed, and I was like, no way, Jose. But, and I had just literally created a miracle in that healing. And I didn't tell anyone too. I left Canada and I didn't tell anyone what was going on. And when he couldn't believe, this was a new optometrist that I saw in Marco Island, when he couldn't believe that it was healed so much, and he told me I'd have the scar on my eye, like I had just created a miracle. And I'm like, if that was possible and that was a miracle, it is definitely possible to get rid of this white scar. But he was telling me nothing could do that, not even laser. And so he told me his view, and his view was not in alignment with what I wanted to call in. And again, I knew the power of the mind, and that was the first I'd manifested a lot, for good and for things I didn't want. Which is the key thing, and one of the key things in manifestation, like the power, we need the discipline of our minds. So many people are like, oh, let's just sit on the beach and manifest, and it's just like, it doesn't require any discipline, but in fact, it actually requires more discipline, because it's the discipline of the mind, and it's 80% energy, but it's 20% not only just aligned action, but massive aligned action. And that stuff is hard and scary to commit to. So yeah, I created, in that moment, I created the belief that I wanted, that my body could, hey Rachel, that my body could believe. Because if I had just said, oh, I'm not gonna have this morphed scar on my eye and look like, literally, I don't even know, like, it was disgusting, guys. I couldn't believe I wouldn't have it, but I didn't want that. So what I did was I wrote a belief that my body could believe. And what it was in that moment, I could have, this is as close as I could get to my body believing it, I could have this white scar on my eye for the rest of my life. And that is not what I'm calling in. And I set my intention when I was calling in, even though I couldn't believe it. And then slowly, that was my one intention for 2 weeks of meditation. And that's just like deep, like 16 hours a day for the rest of the retreat. And then it was like 2 hours a day, but like to literally send cells and command my body to heal and get rid of the scar. And it was impossible, but within 2 weeks it was gone. And slowly, as it started to leave, I shifted my belief to whatever I could believe in my body. So it was that I could have this. And then it was like, the next step, I think, was
What, Jill, I just want to interject for a second. So
yeah.
You set this belief, you have this intention. The one thing that I'm really curious about is, okay, like I've gone through your course, you set your intention, you do your journaling, there's always this temptation. And like the temptation in your story would have been like, you know, someone must have asked you about your eye. Like someone must have been like, dude, your eye's fucked, you know, and like you can't hide it, right? But in those moments, like it must have been tempting to be like, the doctor told me this is going to happen. So how did you override that temptation? Because I mean, like you're talking about the belief, you talk about the manifestation part of it, right?
Yeah.
And I know that's powerful, but like in the lowest point of your manifestation, how do you overcome that hurdle?
Okay, faith is when we don't think the thing's gonna happen and we still believe it's gonna happen. This goes for healing, this goes for money, this goes for partnership, this goes for a job, this goes for whatever I'm not gonna even say trying, whatever we're calling in. So I didn't get tempted because my sight was at stake.
Yeah.
And then me having a morphed eye was at stake. Where our attention goes, energy flows. So I just knew so well, like I know these truths, my truths, these universal laws, people call them sometimes, that how strong the power of our mind is. So I wasn't going to give attention to that. Because if I gave attention to somebody else's beliefs, I'm starting to buy into those beliefs. Does that make sense? So in that moment, the stakes were so high. In those moments, and yes, people did ask about my eye, and I just politely said, I'm not interested in talking about it right now. How are you? Or I'm not interested in talking about it. Boundaries. That's what
I'm getting at. How did you cut it? Because the one thing is, you know, I've on the 3D plane, I know manifestation very well. And the thing where I found a lot of value in your course was you brought the energetic, and I was able to connect the two. And I was like, oh man, this is the magic I've been missing in my life.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've been trying to connect in the course is like, you know, from that story, you know, this guy said your eye is going to be screwed. And how do you, because they always say in manifestation, if you're like, I don't want to be broke. Well, what happens? You end up broke. I don't want a morphed eye, right? I don't want a morphed eye, but then you would have had a morphed eye. So what can you say to cut it off? And I was trying to piece together what you said in your video, and the things I kind of came down to was, the doctor said his thing to you. You're like, well, thank you for what you said, but then you were able to reject it. I was just kind of like, what did you kind of say to yourself or to the outside world to be like, thank you for what you said, but no, I'm not accepting that. This is what I'm accepting. Like, how do you?
So I don't necessarily say it to the outside world. Like when the optometrist told me that, basically in my mind I said, thank you, no thank you. It's called maybe I shouldn't say this on here, but whatever. It's called the voodoo spell. It's like when doctors say, this is going to happen, you're going to die. And I have too much data and evidence in my life from friends and colleagues and people I'd met who had healed from things that, like, even my dear Gary Ramsay, I hope you watch this, teacher from New York for acting, like, they told him he'd be lucky to live to the next day. That was like 5 years ago or something. They went to Healing Center in Mexico. And his mind was so powerful that he's still here living today. And I don't necessarily tell people. Like, I'm very conscious. Okay, here's the thing. I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm like, hey, Kirby, you're learning. I was talking about you earlier and your miracle. So her many miracles, she's a master, but when she healed herself. So we're always getting influenced or coded by our environment. So people have beliefs that we don't align with. We have to be able to either be in the environment and say no thank you energetically, because we understand that the moment we buy into it, the moment we're like, oh yeah, well, thank you, but no thank you, like, I'm not gonna have a morphed eye, or I'm not gonna be blind in my left eye for the rest of my life, they're gonna start, like, we're giving energy to it still. You know what I mean? So, like, we do not have to explain ourselves. I'm very, very conscious now, like, what environments I go into. And if people have different beliefs that I don't align to, or those aren't where I want to go in life, I will just either exit the situation, or if they're talking about that thing, I will literally, like, push away their codes or their beliefs. Like, for example, do you have one right now that I can give you insight on?
Like kind of an example?
Yeah, a belief that you want to hold, but you're not able to hold around certain people.
Here's an example.
Yeah.
In a previous relationship, one of my goals, one of my dreams is, and this is super cool because Meg shares the same thing, is I want to take my son out of the school system, have a tutor, and us go and travel and live that life of freedom. And then the beliefs people will put on me is like, no, your son needs to be there. What about his friends in school? What about this? What about that? And it's like, well, you know, when he's out of that, like, don't you think we're going to be all over the place, meeting people all over like, you're going to learn so much more outside of the classroom than you do in the classroom, you know? Mm-hmm. And my friends, I saw Big Dave in here, they know what's up, you know, when they're, you know, swinging the hammer, doing whatever they're doing. Like, you learn so much out of the classroom than in the classroom. And that's my argument. But so many people will fight that argument. Or like me going out and starting a real estate business, you know, they're like, don't do that, you have a great job, blah, 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 and this stuff, right? But it's like, no, that's my dream. And it's like, how do I, you know, I can pick up my feet and move myself out of the environment, but in those times, I guess I've struggled with those boundaries to be like, how do I not energetic take that shit on without just leaving, you know?
So you're good. I just dropped, by the way, in the abundance course, a masterclass you're gonna love. It talks about false light templates and these lies we've been told by society that are just not true. They're not ultimately true, but so many people are still under these constructs, and basically they're unconsciously imprisoned by them. So there's a part of you that still doesn't believe what you want to believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's where it is. Like, once you're fully integrated in your belief, it doesn't matter what other people say. And I totally get it, because honestly, like, what I'm doing now, my whole family's, you don't understand. Like, shaman, like using my healing tools and some of my altars, like my candle and ankh and chalice.
I mean, you do have the Chanel in the back. That's kind of normal. That's kind of nature too.
I like that. But I had to get so strong in my beliefs first before I was willing to, like, slowly walk away from the system. By the way, I know people who do that and like take their children everywhere. And like, there's this one 17-year-old who I know, I think he might be 18 now, and he's like multi-millionaire and like dropped out of the school system like a while ago, because in my view, I hope I don't get shadow banned, but it's an indoctrination. I just didn't want to catch that. But it is. That's, in my view, that's what it is. Look at all the things that kids are taught in the school system. Like, it's you're gonna love the masterclass I just dropped. But the competition that is literally rooted in scarcity, but that's what the system's all about. And it's like, oh, these conventional tests that there's only like one answer. There is no room for creativity. There is no room for like actually thinking. It's like, let's just regurgitate this information that they want us to think. So, but because of that, because of these like constructs, so many people can't see beyond that. So for you in that, in simplest form, I would suggest concreting, is that a word? Concreting? Solidifying your belief. Like, why do you believe that? What is, how do you know that is true for you? Or what would you benefit off? What are these people, what are you seeing that these people aren't seeing? And it's not like, it doesn't matter. So our beliefs to us are truths, right? So like my beliefs, I'm not saying are truth. They're just my beliefs. But I know as a fact, at least in my world and my experience and everything I've seen, that our beliefs create a reality. Whether we think we can or think we can't, we are right. That's a famous quote. And like truly, truly in all my experience, like that is to be true. And like even when my dog got stolen, I manifested that. I literally manifested that, and I manifested him back. And that was when I had full faith in, like, that was not easy. It's like in these moments that it is, some people are like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I had a conversation with a dear friend the other day. He's going into chemo. He had like a big decision to make, and he was like, about whether to go to another healing center or do the conventional way. And I said, honestly, whatever you believe is going to help you most will help you most. And he's like, yeah, I feel like I should have more faith in like this other thing, but I just like, then it should be just like so easy, like having faith. And I was like, no, faith comes in those moments that it's like, you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. And then something drops in your body and you're like, whoa, like to this greater power, like source, universe, divine, whatever you want to call it. Some people don't believe it's true, and to them it doesn't. To them it doesn't. It doesn't exist in their reality. And any information coming in, this is important actually, any information coming in that would prove otherwise, they will block out. So that's what you can do with your beliefs, the beliefs that are in alignment with what you want to call in alignment with the life that you want to live. And then blocking out, rejecting any beliefs, being conscious of any beliefs from other people that are coming in that are not in alignment, and asking yourself, like, does that belief serve me? And getting so strong in yours. And how do you do that? Again, like writing your belief out, starting to, even before you believe it, starting to speak it out. Our words literally are spells. They create our reality. The power of words is so powerful and potent, especially if we have the energy behind it. And if you can't believe it, then write it to a belief that that you want. So do you have another example? I'm curious, because that last one was from the past. So if you have one right now.
So my current example that I've been really struggling with is like, in the abundance stuff, I'm really good at giving, but I'm having a hard time receiving. And so now I'm opening up and receiving, but then it's like, okay, the other thing is, it's like, how do I properly reject the things I don't want coming in as I open up and receive? That's my kind of challenge.
What do you
I don't know if it's, huh?
Oh, you mean the beliefs of other people?
Yes. So like, that's one of the things that I'm really set, because one of my words for next year, I was doing a bunch of goal setting. One of my words for next year, I always pick a word, say discipline or something. One of my words is being uncompromising, uncompromising to myself. So like uncompromising in choosing myself, because otherwise I will not choose myself in situations, and almost like the oxymoron of like, you have to be selfish to be selfless in that sense. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We talked about that in the masterclass.
Yeah.
100%, because we cannot, okay, here's the thing. We cannot serve from a full cup sustainably. And we can only love somebody else to the extent we love ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be, I said this on a video yesterday, it came through, I'm like, let's be selfish, because when we're selfish, as soon as we're in overflow, we want to give. That's all we want to do. But when we're giving from an empty cup, that's actually not giving. That's manipulation. We're giving from a place of, oh, I'm going to give them and expecting something in return instead of actually just giving. And receiving is different than taking on somebody's belief. I'd love to share something that Yerlin, just my mentor, she was just on here. She's amazing, guys. She said to me, it's like love, like soft in the front, like loving in the front, but sturdy in the back. Most people are the other way. So having boundaries, like just being so grounded in what you believe, and you can be kind and receive and give, but you're unshakable.
Yeah.
And then like saying every single day, like what your beliefs are and what you, and if you can't believe them, what I would say is like what you want it to be, and then say something that you can believe. That's closer, a little bit closer. Hi, Tati. I'll see you in Mexico. It's been a few days. That's a little bit closer to what is in alignment with what you're calling it. So say chance, like you have a hard time receiving love. We'll just say that, right? Or money. Let's use money because it's a good example. So it's like instead of saying, so many people I love on this, instead of saying I love receiving money, if your body's like, ugh, just switch it to I am willing to be open to receiving money, or I am releasing the guilt and the shame of receiving, and I open myself to receive it. Like whatever in your body, even if my mind says it's bad, or even if my mind says it's evil. That was one thing for me. Like I thought me having money or me receiving was bad, or I thought I was bad or evil, actually. We want to connect the heart and the brain, but we also want to not like bypass and say, oh, I love receiving, when really we're like, no. So it's like, okay, I'm opening myself up to be able to start to receive. Maybe it's that. And then maybe that shifts to, I'm opening myself up where I am open to start to receive. And then maybe from there, it's, I am open to enjoying to receive. And then maybe from there, it's, I am open and love to receive. But to jump from, oh, I hate receiving, to I love to receive, it's a big jump. So what are the micro shifts that we can make? And realizing that everybody's beliefs and what people say and what people speak is not truth. We all have our own truths. But what are the truths that we are, I don't want to say buying into, but letting into our vortex? Are they in alignment with what we want? Because if they're not, how do we shift them? Because some people's truths, like my family's truths, are not my truths anymore. They're their truths. And my truths are not their truths. I can assure you of that. But my truths create my life, and they created my life. And I'm very clear about that. I have too much evidence. So it's like, we'll only see what's in alignment with our paradigm. We won't even if the evidence is right there, right in front of us. I'll give you an example of this. The first Dr. Joe retreat I went to a few years ago, I got gifted it. And I kid you not, there was people on stage saying, I healed from cancer, I healed from Lyme disease. I healed this tumor. I manifested $1 million. I manifested like whatever, right? And I'm like, he got some real good actors here. Like on my paradigm, the evidence was right there, and I was talking to people in person too. I thought he hired actors, and then in person I was talking to all these people, and I was like, it did not fit my paradigm, and I was so confused because I'm like, how many actors did he hire? Like, and then my life started to shift, and then I started seeing evidence, and then I started asking for signs, and then I got signs, and then I got more signs, and it started to build my belief. But I couldn't believe the stuff there. It just didn't fit my reality. My reality, my paradigm had to get shattered before I started to recreate it. And it continues to get shattered. The more I learn about this stuff, the more I realize I don't know. Like, and I know a lot more now about like quantum physics and the brain and neuroscience and trauma and manifesting. Like, manifesting is my favorite thing. By the way, I channeled my manifestation course name today. It's called Decoding Manifesting. So we're all just getting coded, but are these codes like what we want? So like somebody's beliefs are not our beliefs. We do not need to take them on. There's lots of people, again, I'm going to talk about money because it's just an easy hack to talk about to illuminate the big picture. There's lots of people who believe money's bad. So they will never have money. Because if they have money, then they're bad. Or it'll come in and they'll release it. There's also lots of people, hey Dad, who I haven't seen forever. There's also lots of people who believe that they will always have more than enough. And guess what? They always have more than enough. And this is actually very interesting because a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people who come from generational wealth, no matter what they do, will always have wealth. Why? Yeah, it's easier and connections and whatever, but truly why on a visceral level is because they're getting coded with that. That is what their belief. They just believe it's always going to be there because it's always been there. There are exceptions to this, of course, because like if they believe it's bad, then they're going to push it away, right? Or if they believe they got neglected and they this creates that, then they put that, and maybe they don't want to neglect people or whatever it is, right? But they're getting coded as growing up. This is why like generational wealth, like it's easier for someone who grew up in poverty to stay in poverty. And it's easier for somebody who grew up in wealth to stay in wealth and create that because they've been coded from actually before they were born to that, because it's a frequency. And by the way, frequency, guys, is the pattern. So fractal patterns, this is my new favorite thing. I don't know. I was doing this all weekend when I was teaching about this for Reiki. Fractal patterns, when people see fractal patterns in meditation, it's information. What is information? It's frequency. These are when people get like downloads. So there's a frequency to wealth. There's a frequency to health. There's coherence. When things are coherent, that is the natural state. That's when the deep healings happen. That's when our beliefs can match the feelings in our body, and we are like literally beyond unstoppable when we're in a coherent state and we're in our own power. That's why like activations, it brings us back to coherence. It starts to get rid, like you've done the breath work, that's starting to get rid of dense energy in the body. What does dense energy do? It's trauma, it's stuck energy that's causing incoherence. It's causing dis-ease. Like disease comes from dis-ease of the body, because as trauma is stuck in the body, as emotional experiences are stuck in the body, it starts to create filaments, right? And then if these aren't processed, they start to compound, which creates like density, which is kind of like, eventually it's like almost a rock in the body, and then the energy cannot flow through there, so it creates incoherence and dis-ease in the body. Does that make sense? I just went on a rampage.
It does make sense. And actually, while you were talking, I was thinking, I think this is like a good example. So I was dating this girl for a while, and before I was dating, okay, I was abundant, more than enough would come in, and it always did. Like, money, whatever, everything would come in.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were dating, and so the one thing that I would kind of fight is she had a real scarcity mindset, and so anyway, and she would demonize money, and kind of demonize even me being in real estate kind of thing, and also like felt guilty to like do real estate. And then what I found myself is like I was almost like after a while, almost like fighting the demonizing of money, but I know it's not there. And then it's until she was gone that it's like those beliefs almost kind of reset. So I'm almost wondering, like, I guess I was getting encoded with her demonizing of money. Yeah. And then when she goes, then I guess I go back to like a natural state, but it's almost like it feels like I have to go back through the battle of like what her mentality is, or I don't know. It's weird. But like now it's like I'm getting back into that flow of abundance where deals are coming in and just so many more opportunities and that stuff,
I mean, yes. So there's a couple things here. You absolutely get encoded by her beliefs. And you asked earlier, I just came out with a statement or a phrase you can say to yourself or other people. I'm not available for this. I'm not available for this conversation. Like when people are telling me, and I've hired like an amazing mentor and amazing coach who are both into this work, because I decided I needed to be mentored and coached by people who actually get this stuff. I was not available anymore for people who don't understand this to be instilling their wisdom and their beliefs on me. So when people like say, honestly, sometimes I just walk away, or I say I'm not available for this, like in my mind, which is kind of what I did with my eye, like I'm not available for that. I didn't use that verbiage, but I said that, but I didn't speak it out loud because I knew the optometrist obviously was not going to understand and was going to call me crazy. And then it's just going to like, his beliefs are going to come into my field even more. And it's like, no, I'm not available for that.
I like that. See, that's what I was looking for. Like some sort of phrase when someone says something, I'm like,
yeah,
at them or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
100%. And what did she mirror to you? You don't need to answer this, but like looking into like maybe there was an aspect of yourself that you actually, and beliefs from the past that she actually triggered or illuminated, mirrored to you. Because I know for myself too, like the more of this work I do, the more inner work I do, the more journaling, the more activations, the more energy work, the more impact I create, the more my business scales. I'm like, oh, whoa, another belief. Oh, hello, didn't see you. I didn't see you when I was playing small because it didn't come up. And then it like comes up and I'm like, okay, so gotta work through this one and rewrite it. I literally did that today in a ceremony. I'm like, what am I available for? What am I no longer available for? And this works for like relationships too. Like, it's like, I used to be in a cycle of abusive relationships. Pretty much everybody I dated was like either abusive or aloof. I'm no longer available for that. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I was creating that. Or like, I would, for a period of my life, like I would date dudes who were like super, what's the opposite of chivalrous? Actually, this is gonna be good for you. Not that you're very divine masculine, but that's not what I meant by that. Appreciate all your help. And the wine glasses. What's the word I'm thinking of? Oh my goodness. Who just like, I would like grab the bill on a date, or like, and you know why? You know why this happened? Because I could, hey Agatha, so many of my favorite people. I couldn't receive. I felt guilty to receive. So obviously I was manifesting that.
Mm-hmm.
Energetically, 100%. I remember once I went on a date in New York and I like would not let the guy pay for my like $18 meal. I was like, absolutely not. Because it was ingrained into my DNA. Somebody told me once, never rely on a man. And although I'm never gonna rely on a man because I understand my own power, I still appreciate the chivalry. And I actually wanted that, but I wouldn't allow myself to have it. I was like, no, very sis, I get that. I was like, no, like I want this, but I am bad if I have that, so I'm pushing that away. I've shifted that belief.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone I've seen, and I'm not seeing anyone right now, but like after that, the past like year have been very chivalrous because I'm not available for anything less.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I understand like the energy, but I also understand like it was, and this is where like the masculine and feminine, it's like the feminine is receiving. So that's, if we talk about the chakras, that's the sacral chakra, like the lower abdomen, that's where our creative center is. Usually blocks in there are shame and guilt. And then the heart is another feminine one, and then third eye. And then the other ones are masculine. The throat, the solar plexus, and the root chakra. So that's not like feminine, that's not male, female, that's like the container holders, the safety. I've had to work a lot. I was very masculine for most of my life, and what I mean by that was like doing everything myself and like go, and like so neurotic about that, but I was very toxic masculine. And what I mean by that, it was not like, I didn't feel safe, which is again like the divine masculine. And I was like running in circles, and like instead of, okay, no, I am safe, and the structure, and then I kind of went to the complete other end, and then I got like very attuned to my feminine and like receiving, but I was like, oh, structure, what? No way. Oh, hustle, what? No way. I'm still working through some of that. I'm like, okay. Yeah. But that's it. So it's like working on those, like the heart opening, like if you could just be breathing and bringing your attention to your heart, and working on the lower abdomen, the sacral, bringing attention there, what's actually going on in there. Because here's the thing, when we have blocks or when we have these twitches and these pings, like it's like somebody says something or somebody gives us something and we're like, oh, part of us is like, no, thank you. There's a memory there in the body where it twitches or it like contracts. There's a memory there. And if we go into that memory, if we go into that trigger, there's gold in there, because that's what needs to be shifted. And then once we shift that within ourselves so strong that we're unshakable, nobody can shift that belief, because it becomes from thought in the brain to belief in the heart to wisdom in the body. When it becomes wisdom, it's unshakable. That experience with my eye turned to wisdom of what's possible. That experience when I manifested my dog back after I manifested him getting stolen, that became wisdom for what's possible. Many, many other experiences in my life became wisdom. At first it's in the brain. It's like, okay, what do I want my beliefs to be? Where's my North Star? That's what we're aligning to. Okay, now what beliefs is that version of myself who's already achieved all this other stuff? What do they believe? Even if I don't believe it, okay, now we're gonna shift that. So then we have to start actively seeing what's not in alignment with that. And it's usually like, whoa, a lot of my beliefs are not in alignment. A lot of my behaviors are not in alignment. Okay, now they're in the awareness. That's where we can shift them on a day-to-day basis, or deep in ceremony, deep in an activation. And then once those are shifted, things start to happen. And then things that you can't deny. And they're miraculous and amazing and synchronistic. And you're like, okay, that's when it becomes wisdom. When you've had the experiences so much that you're like, this is crazy. People would think it's crazy, but it happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Did I answer your questions? I just went on another.
Yeah, you've been going off, but you've been answering my questions, and like my biggest question that you did answer was like, okay, because my struggle has been, I've been learning, actually going through your course and going through the stuff. I've been learning that here I'm certain, because like I hold myself to a pretty high level of accountability. So like my own shit, I'm pretty good at dealing with my own shit. But the thing that I was kind of blindsided by is other people's shit that I've taken on without knowing that I've taken on. And then that's in my body. And then I got to work on that stuff. But it's kind of was just, it came from somebody else onto me, right? And so that's kind of my challenge. And then my thing is like, okay, how do I be uncompromising so other people's shit, you know, I can be like, hey, no, you know, like what you just said to me, what's a tool I can use where I can be, no, not available. Because I don't want to be like, no, I'm not going to do this when really I'm sending energy and manifesting the thing I don't want, right? I've been very conscious in saying I want the opposite of saying what I don't want. If that makes sense.
100%. Hey, Dusty. See you in Mexico too. Okay, so here's some a download just came. Like, that's so beautiful. So yeah, I'm not available for this. And you can actually say that to yourself too. No, I'm not available for this behavior. And what you want to do to ingrain it in your DNA, because it has to become embodied. Like the codes have to be in your DNA. So the activations, come up with the beliefs that are in alignment with what you're calling in. And then as you align to that, use that in the activations, because that starts to get to an unconscious and subconscious level in your body with the energies. Not just here of like, no, once it's in the body, it's like, it's integrated. It's who you are. It becomes essentially your identity. So what identity are you aligning to, becoming? What version of Chance that already exists, it's not in the future, it's not in the past, that already exists in another dimension, what are his beliefs? That's your future self, but I don't believe in time in other dimensions. So this future self, if you want to call it, or this other Chance who has like whatever you're calling in, what are his beliefs? And then you bring those into the activations and you experience that and you drop it into this body, as we do in at least one of them, I think one or two.
The one I just did it the other day, and you clapped, and I was like, whoa! And I could feel like it was vibrating, and all sorts of shit was going on. I was like, whoa, Jill, what would you put into this thing? I don't know. It's like having a cocktail.
I did that with a client yesterday. I like put the drum, I dropped, and I did put it right over his heart, and he was like, hold that. But yeah, that's it. That is the practice that starts to get it embodied, and you will notice it. You will notice it. And start with something small. If it's like, because you are so smart that you're up here a lot.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So it's like, think less. Integrate more.
I've gone up here so much because this hurts so much, but then with your course, I've been working so much in here. And it's crazy, like how much of my body was connected. And that's why I posted in your group that emotional body chart, because that really helped me to be like, shit, I got to accept myself. Shit, that one's fear. Yeah. This is here. And then what I learned was when I suppressed one, it like from doing this, then triggered that, to trigger this, to trigger that. And I'm like, oh man, like I just one simple suppression just chain affected everything.
And this is it. Okay, there's two things here. When we start to align to higher versions of ourselves, our shit comes out. It has to. We start to come back to our body and we're like, whoa, we have all this trauma. Oh my God, where did this come from? It's always been there, but we've been out of our body. We've been in our mind. Why? To survive. So as we align to these things, these have to come out because they're no longer in alignment. And to get to the frequency, to get to that embodied version of our future self, it has to come up, because the only way out is through. The only way out is through. So if it comes up, it's coming out, but it has to come up, and it's real freaking uncomfortable. That's why this work is not for the faint of heart, and we get tested real hard. And the more we get tested, and the more we trust, and the more we integrate, the stronger we become. And this is the other thing that I'm so called to tell you. Okay, our hearts as human beings are 60 times more powerful than our minds, than our brain. That's crazy. Our brains are freaking powerful, 60 times more powerful. So I encourage you, I invite you to keep tuning into the heart. And I know it's hard. When I started this work a few years ago, I kid you not, I was crying like 3 hours a day. Now I don't, I'm not seeing that for you. But you know, it's like we have to let that emotion out. And I was like, this sucks. Why do people like energy work? Why do people like meditation? What is going on? And I had no guides, I had no friends in this work, I had no mentors in this work. I just like thought, I don't know, like something was wrong with me. And then I realized that was the work. And now it doesn't, I have things come up, and I have like deep things come up because I've done a lot of this work that now the things that come up are real deep seated that couldn't come up before. And I love meditation now. I love activations because most of the time they're really blissful and sometimes they're not. But when I started it, they were a lot. Like the first retreat I ever went to, it felt like venom was leaving my body. It was not only emotional pain, but physical pain. And my vices got amplified for a while.
Gotcha. Oh, the one thing I was going to ask. So in these activations and the stuff where you set your attention, I think you kind of said something, but I just missed a small little thing for it to click. So I'm just going to ask it now. So one of the things that I actually in your activation, one of the things I did was I've been having tons of pain in my heart. And then I had a pain just below here in the rib cage. So I kind of looked where that was on my emotional chart or whatever, found out where it was.
Okay, I'm going to stop for 1 second.
Yes.
The pain in your solar plexus, your rib cage, is directly correlated with you taking on everybody, or I won't say everybody, but other people's opinions. That's essentially power. When we have blockages there, we're giving our power away to other people, places, situations. So that could be beliefs, that could be addictions, whether it's substances or gambling or whatever. These are the people that also are either like super closed off, or they're very much like, look at me, look at me, look at me, and looking for approval from other people, or staying so much in their shell. And a lot of like self-soothing happens when we have blockages there as well. I know this very well because I had a lot, and I've worked with a lot of people who have a lot. So that's directly correlated, that pain. So the more you go into that and release it using activations and meditation and maybe the breath work, and like whatever else you want to use, the more that pain is going to go away, and the less you will care or be influenced what people think, whether it's a belief or what they think about you or whatever. Secondly, I forgot to say this. So the heart is 60 times more powerful. So the more you release those blockages, the more powerful, and you're already very powerful, the more powerful you're going to get at manifesting. Because as we draw our future self, as we draw the manifestation, that version of ourselves who already has it to ourselves in our heart, that's from the heart. We draw them to us from the heart. So we project them out through the third eye, and then we draw them to the heart. So the more you clear that, the more magnetic you're going to be. And we're literal magnets, like the cerebral spinal fluid going up and out. That's why we want to clear the blockages by using this work too, is because then our magnets get bigger. And what happens when our magnets get bigger is things happen more quickly. It's like thought, speak, whoa, it's there. Sometimes thought, whoa, it's here. Sorry to interrupt you. I just didn't want to miss that. So pain in your heart and your solar plexus, and then you had another question.
Yeah, and then so in the activation, I was like trying to think of like, okay, my intention was to like release that or get rid of that pain or something. And so actually your activation, it actually really got rid of that. Like I was pretty, I was just trying to imagine myself, imagine myself into the quantum of like the dude that doesn't have that shit, and then you clap, and it was like, it hit me, and I was like, whoa. And then like I felt like buzzing all in my whatever, and I was like, yeah, no, it was pretty crazy. And actually, like my whole chest and heart and everything area over the last little while has really like it doesn't hurt near as much. So like, yeah, I mean, but I did take like a week and a half and just hammered out your course, and it was very nice. You weren't very nice in your course, okay? Like it's very neat. Going through me was a neat experience.
Added as a bonus, so I'm looking forward to it. Literally,
yeah. So
this call. Okay, there's one more thing here. So I invite you. You said to get rid of. How about you try transmute. That's a word I've been using a lot more because energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transmuted. So if we transmute that pain to love, to bliss, to excitement. And even if there's fear, okay, what's another word? Excitement is the same visceral feeling as fear. So if we shift the word, we shift the connotation, we shift the meaning of it, then we can start to use this. Because also, I forgot to say this, those blockages that you're using these things to get rid of, those are stuck energy. That energy, once it's liberated, we use that energy to create. We use that to manifest. So if we say transmute it, the verbiage of it is like we're shifting the energy.
It's so powerful. I had to write it on the board.
Yeah. Okay, awesome.
I have to go on the board right now with gold infused manifestation energy on the board now.
And one more thing I feel really called to say is like a lot of people, because you are so smart and you think a lot, like I see this a lot. It's like people, they're like, okay, but how? But what? And we cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. So how do we raise our consciousness? We become more coherent. How do we do that? We release trauma and we transmute energy. And as we do that, solutions come, blindfolds come off, and we're like, whoa, we see it from a greater perspective. And when we do that, it's like we can manifest so much more quickly. And all the questions that we had, stay with me, I'm almost connecting the dots. All the questions that we had get answered. We answer them. We get the downloads. It's like, whoa, I didn't get this. There's things that I listened to 3 years ago, or books that I've read, and I got aspects of it, and I listened to it again or read it again, and I'm like, whoa, like about quantum physics. I'm like, I just connected dots. I didn't hear 3/4 of this book or read it's like it didn't come in because I wasn't at that level of consciousness to receive it. Hey, Kim. Thank you. So one sabotage pattern that I've certainly had and I've seen a lot is like questioning things and like wanting to know answers, and because of that, not actually doing the energy work and the embodiment work and the shadow work. Once we like actually, it's like, okay, let's stop questioning. Let's do this work. Let's take this time and do the work. The answers come. Maybe not in that sitting, maybe not in that week, but they eventually come, because I believe all the answers are within and from the divine. And when we ask and we do the work, it actually happens. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, literally, he's so funny. He will not answer questions. When people ask questions, he'll say, are you doing the work? And they'll be like, no, but. He's like, are you doing the work? No, but. Do the work. You don't get it. I get it. I get it. Do the work. That's literally what he says. Hey, Monica. So it's like, sometimes when we're searching, it's just like one tweak away and it's within. And it's also good to have guidance and all the things, of course, but not at the expense of, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but I just see it a lot, not at the expense of, committing for like 2 weeks. I mean, I would say every single day, because like that's how I live my life in devotion, and my morning practice is like insane. But sometimes it's just like, hey, I have all these questions, and like instead of just like going in your head, let's just sit down and like do some of the shadow work questions, or do an activation, or do a breath work. I'm sending you love back, Monica. Yeah. Did that answer all your questions?
Honestly, today's little talk session definitely really helped. And I found one thing that was super valuable that hit me like crazy was the micro moments, because like I am pretty disciplined and I am pretty on point with things, and it's like, oh man, these micro moments, like I'm wearing my underwear, sorry, I mean my Under Armour. I mean, I could be, but no one would know. But anyways, I'm wearing my Under Armour. And Under Armour, like to me, was like, growing up, I was like, man, Under Armour was like so expensive and stuff and whatnot. And I was like, what would Millionaire Chance be wearing? And I was like, man, he'd just be rocking Under Armour, because now I got a rockin' body that I look good in Under Armour. I can show off my muscles or whatever. Keeps me accountable because now I'm like, okay, now Under Armour shows everything. Like there's nothing you can hide. So if you're getting the spare tire, like, that's what's gonna show. So now it's keep me accountable, right? I'm on the bars, doing my ab exercises and whatever else. But then also too, it's just like a different attitude as well, because now it's like, all right, this is where I am. I'm living it. I'm walking it. And it's just like the amount of opportunities in the last little while that are just coming in there. And I'm understanding the energetics and the quantum side where it's like the exponential. Because I always saw everything linear. I'm an infighter, so like, you know, I'm pretty analytical. But the other thing is, being an engineer has also made me be an engineer of my body. So not only just opening up the physical side, and like that was the thing I was really missing, was like the energetic side. So like I grabbed your stuff, and you'll see in my notes and my questions and the stuff I've tweaked in your course, like for my own stuff, you'll see how I've like taken the energetics and like made it practical in the engineering mind to mind to like make it a systemized process basically that I've done with it.
And that's it. Like it's not linear. Like this stuff is not linear. We're taught, like you said earlier about the schools, we're taught to think so linear, but this stuff is not. It's like practical decision, or well, there's a really good quote. I was gonna say practical decisions become practical results. No, logical decisions become logical results or create logical results. Illogical actions create illogical results. And that's the thing, like these things, sometimes you'll get a ping or a download or an insight and you're like, I don't know why, but I should go here, I should do this thing. Like follow those. Because it's like the universe is rearranging and it's not in a linear timeline. This is how people collapse timelines or jump timelines. And that's amazing. Read the millionaire version of Chance, because it's like, I have stories about this, like go in the grocery store and like, it's like, I'll invest in like a high ticket mentor, and then I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, oh, I should get organic apples. Like I know they make a big difference, but it's like 30 cents more. No, I'm gonna get that other one. And it's like, what? It's those moments that really, when we shift those, it's like we're saying to the universe, yes, I'm worthy of this other thing. Because energetically, if we're like, oh, I'm just gonna be like stingy over here, the universe like knows that like those moments, they shift our energy. The biggest thing is change your energy, change your life. Those moments are us in contraction. When we're in contraction, we cannot be in expansion. Contraction is also scarcity and it's fear. We can't be in scarcity and abundance at the same time. And when do the things happen? When do the manifestations happen? They happen when we're an energetic match to the thing. So we need to be in the energy, embodying the energy of something before it manifests into 3D reality. So if we're embodying the energy of like scarcity, then we're just gonna get more of that. But if we're embodying abundance, like if you're embodying the millionaire version of Chance, before it becomes manifest in 3D reality, you need to be embodying that most of the time. And then all of a sudden it happens and it's like, whoa, what? And there's different levels of that. There's like creating the nervous system, like you asked about like a goal, I can't remember exactly what it was. And I said, okay, like what's a goal that your nervous system can hold right now? Because like for me, it's like, yeah, I want to be a multi-millionaire. I want my business to be like multi-millions, but can I hold that energy in my nervous system as Jill right now? No, I can't. I know that because my nervous system's been like, as I have like more abundance flowing through me, it's like, oh, can I hold this? And it's like, hey, ground. So it's like, there's levels. Like there's a level of like, yo, when I started my business, I was making $300 a week. And then there was like levels of like, you know, like 2,000 a month, and then it was like 4,000, and then it was 5,000, and then it was like, oh, can I hold more? And then it was like 8,000, and then it went down to 6,000 because I was like, this is a lot. And then it went up, and then it went down, and then I cracked 10,000, and then I went down after that because I was like, holy, that was like a lot. And then it went back up, and then we have to stabilize these things. And like 5,000 is a stepping stone to 10,000, which is a stepping stone to 30,000, to 50,000, to 100,000, to $1 million. You know what I mean? And like, it doesn't have to be these increments, but we have to be able to stabilize. So it should be something that we're calling in. Okay, so what's what's something that my nervous system can handle, but it's like a lot, but it can handle. And it's a bit of a stretch, but I believe it can happen. And then we call that in, but we align to something a little bit bigger that we don't believe we can have, so that our mind isn't like, death is on the other side of that. And then we integrate whatever we called in, when it happens, we integrate it. And we anchor it in, and we stabilize it. And then the next level can happen. Because if we don't do that, then like, yeah, sometimes things can come in, but then it's like, it's fleeting, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Any more final questions? Because my phone is about to die. That's why I paused.
I think that's pretty good, Jill. I think you answered all my questions.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome.
So I really appreciate it. My biggest thing was just being able to receive. How can I reject the outside world's shit? Because that's been my biggest struggle, is rejecting the outside world shit. Like I saw someone post in there like, shield up. Yeah, you damn right. I gotta shield the hell up. and then it seems like also too, like I'm in a stage now where it's like I'm outgrowing certain relationships and stuff like that. You know, like moved on from a past partner that I was with before, and just one is just like. Actually, one of your breath works, it's like moved up, and I was like, I just no longer, I guess,
close that door.
Yeah, I was like, I shut that door, shut the door, and I was just like, I no longer resonate with that, right?
100%.
And I guess that was my one way to tell the universe, like that's kind of gone, I was like no longer resonate with that.
100%. And as you continue to do this work, you'll notice that like people will fall out, jobs will fall out, relationships will fall out. Good thing your current partner is doing this work. And she's AF, right? So that's it. It's like, it's just a sign that you're up leveling. And when we do this work, people will fall out in situations, and like somebody else's truth is not your truth. Oh, I love you too, Kirby. Oh, you're very welcome. I'll have to come visit you at Cardares if you're still there. But I'm leaving for a month. So when I get back, other people's truth is not your truth. And if you want to take it on as your truth, does it align to what you're calling in, to who you want to be, to what you want to create in this world, to the impact you want to call in? One of my I'm calling him a mentor. I did a trauma therapy session with him. If anybody has deep trauma here, by the way, guys, Dr. Connolly, he is an investment, but holy man, amazing. I'm taking his course. So is May. I told her about him.
Okay. Is that the RRT?
Yeah, RRT.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Everyone's like, it's not it's not RTT, guys, it's RRT. It's very different. But he says these are just ways of thinking. Where it's not truth, it is a way of thinking. A way of thinking that's productive. And that really hit, because I was like, whoa, yeah. It's not necessarily like truth, but it's my truth. And I know that my truth creates my reality. That is very clear. So somebody else's truth is not necessarily your truth, and your truth is not necessarily somebody else's truth. Or your beliefs are not somebody else's belief necessarily, and somebody else's beliefs are not necessarily your beliefs. Does it align to what you're creating? If it does, you can adopt those beliefs, and if it doesn't, you can just say, no thank you, not aligned. Your belief, not my belief. And also one more thing before I let you go. It just came through so strong. It's just an example. Some people, I'll give you an example for me. I used to think I needed to struggle so much to even make ends meet. Like, if you knew me before, I was juggling 3 serving jobs. Like literally I would run from one to the other, working 16 hours, like not eating all day. Like it was insane. And now I've worked a lot through that, and I'm like, whoa, I'm like having way more come in than I ever have. And I'm also investing way more than I ever have. I've invested everything that's come in my business this year and more. Because the version of Jill that is creating and having the impact that I want to create, these are all investments that she would absolutely make in her own growth. Because also everything's a reflection. Like our businesses are a reflection of ourselves. in my view, I'm very clear on that.
I agree.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
it's like,
another baby you made.
yeah, but my old belief created my reality.
Yeah.
And now my new belief creates my new reality. And now I'm seeing beliefs that are not fitting the reality I want to create. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I did right before this call. I was in another call, literally rewriting what, hang on, I'll read it to you. I won't read what I wrote, but this is an exercise you can all use. Oh, I remember. Things I'm available for, things I'm not available for. These can be beliefs.
Oh, I wrote that down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. So, and it's beautiful because then we're actually like declaring it. And then once we declare it, it's like, okay, well, sometimes they come up and we get tested. And it's like, really? Is that really what you're believing? Is that really what you're available for? I see this in relationships all the time with like settling, or, oh, I'm in an abusive relationship, but I can't have anything better. And it's like, you can't because, and I've been there, you can't because you believe you can. Like, I'm no longer willing to settle. Like, absolutely not. No way, Jose. But when you have that belief and that paradigm, that creates the reality that you're in. Like us as humans.
Yeah.
I hope that helps. Y'all who are here visiting and Chance. Yeah, maybe we'll do another one of these after I get back. You have some great questions.
Great.
He asked in my course, he asked like really great questions actually.
Yeah, I was there's a part of me I was like, oh, am I asking like way too many questions because it's blowing shit up? But I was like, you know what? Probably other people have the same questions that I do, and you know, and it's like
literally, yeah. And like, it's so good to have men in this work.
And then I realized I was the only dude in your course.
I know, we're all the men.
But yeah.
It's so funny because, I mean, I connected you, I won't say his name, to one of my clients. I feel like you guys are going to get, you already are talking, but like, they're so similar. They're like, we're all the like men in this work. And it's so true. Actually, there's somebody else who came to my Reiki course who's an amazing gem. I'll connect you as well. But it's like, yeah, we need more divine masculine men in this work, guys. So if you're interested in doing this work, you can message me. I don't know. I have the course still. It's on a Black Friday extended sale, and it is epic AF. Honestly, it is so, like, from the bottom of my heart, I poured my heart and soul into that course, and the breakthroughs, I knew there would be breakthroughs, but like continue to boggle my mind. But maybe I'll do like an in-person ceremony at some point when I come back.
I think the cool thing for me was like everything was shut off, and then like the way I started to receive was actually through dreams that would unlock the next block, and then it would slowly just be like a connection here, a thing in here. One of my mentors just posted me on his Instagram. He's like, hey man, have you because I just had a thought about like funding real estate in the States. We're getting at the point I'm getting good at putting deals together and working that. And he's like, well, I'll post you on here, you know, to get some funding. If you need any funding, let me know. We'll line everything else up for you. And then I was just talking to a buyer the other day, and he's like, yeah, man. He's like, whatever you guys got. He's like, I have unlimited funds. This guy puts out like 40 private mortgages for people on private lending every month. So he's like, if there's anything you ever need funded, like this guy will fund anybody as long as it makes sense. And so now I know the formula and what to look for if I want funding. And it's just like all these little tiny little things. And then like even at the store the other day, you know, one thing I look at like a little bit of a delicacy is candied salmon for my son, and I'll make it kind of like a little extra thing for him, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, come from a small town. I mean, it's like $8 every 100 grams. So like, it's not like cheap. But I asked him, I was like, how happy would you be if you got, you know, some candy salmon? He's like, Dad, I'd be so happy. I'm like, well, like how happy? Like, give me a number. He's like, infinite. And so I kept bugging. I was like, okay, we'll get candy salmon. So then we get our normal groceries, and I'm looking in the bag, and I'm like, oh man, like where's the candy salmon? And then the guy's like, oh, is this bag yours? I'm like, yeah, it is. They say, oh, here, you know what? I forgot to ring it through. He's like, here's a gift on the house. And I was like, oh, like, thank you. You know, just like little things that are just kind of lining up. And
those,
then,
sorry.
And like in one of my previous, you know, like one of my previous relationships is like, she never said thank you, and that kind of rubbed off on me and my son and all the time. I'm like, dude, it's just a small little thing, and the more you say thank you, the more you get. And it's like now me and him both have like this common energy of like constant thank yous that are just like coming in, and it's like I want to give more to him, the universe gives more to me. And it's just like it's opening up that like magical cycle again, just from the simple words of thank you. It really is a magical word, you know?
It is. Gratitude is the highest form of receivership. It's like when we give somebody something and they're actually grateful, we want to give more. When they're like, ugh, I can't accept this because I feel unworthy, or I can't accept this, like, for whatever reason, it's like we don't want to give. But the universe is the same way. The more we're grateful, the more they're like, they're grateful, we're going to give them more. And then it flows through us because giving is receiving. And these things will continue to happen. You'll just like, that's one thing. Actually, sometimes people just start to manifest like through other people or situations, like through partners or through like gifts like that. I know Laura was on, I don't know if Laura's still on here, but she manifested in the course $1,000 like free coaching course that she wanted to take with somebody, and then it ended up coming like 2 months later during our course as a gift. And it's like, yeah, the work is just so magical. It's just so magical, and it just gets better and better.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable because we have to deal with our own stuff that's been running our life. And I forgot to say, so I do have, guys, a manifestation course that is starting in January. I'll keep you posted on the details of that.
Okay, deal. I think as corny as the one exercise was in the training there, when you're going back and forth, and they would have to give each other like a fake compliment or not accept the compliment, and then like accept the compliment. Like I've really taken that to heart, because there was an apology that was sent my way, you know, that was really it was really necessary. And there was a moment with that apology where it was like I kind of felt like that toughness to like accept it, and then I was like, we'll do that corny little thing in Jill's course. You know, you breathe in and just like accept it. And honestly, it just felt so good. Like it was just such a little minor thing. And I was like, because I was in the micro moment, right? And I've just been managing my micro moments. And that was a micro moment where I was like, oh, I noticed this thing. We got to slightly adjust that. And it was so little, but so profound. Because I always say it's the little things that count. It's the little things. You know, it's always the little things. I'm always on the little things.
That's so beautiful. And that's it, because you're energetically teaching in those moments your body to receive and your energy to receive. And it puts you in that energy. And remember, energy flow. Shift your energy, shift your life. That's the one I wanted to say. And one last thing, and my phone is going to die. It's at 5%. Receiving, there was something important I was going to say here. Yeah, those micro moments, those literally are when we jump timelines. Like those micro moments, it's like this choice or this choice. What would this version of Jill Roline to do? Oh, it's this one, but I'm scared, so I'm gonna do this one. And that's fine, but you didn't jump the timeline. So there'll be another opportunity. It's okay, but like, I don't know, I don't have time to waste anymore. Like,
yeah. I guess one more thing to share is like, I already know I got a timeline jump coming ahead. So like in my past relationships, my girlfriends have really never got me anything for Christmas. And then Megs is like, those things you ask me for Christmas, don't buy them. And I'm like, because like, I'm always the type where I'm like, the people ask me like, Chas, what do you want for Christmas? And it's like, I don't know, because like, and my mom just got to the point where she sends me money, because my mom tried to surprise me once with headphones. And then I was like, I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, check out I'm like, look at these sick headphones I got. She's like, did you just really buy yourself the headphones? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I was going to buy you the headphones. I was like, oh. I was like, I really wanted them, so I got them now. And they were a good deal. So this Christmas, I know Megs is getting me a few things. And I was like, hey, I'm going to actually receive these things. Because otherwise I haven't really received gifts from partners. So I was like, oh. And honestly, that's a hard thing to even think about. I'm like, I got to prep myself for Christmas to receive these.
Well, use activations. Because if you push those away, you're also pushing away money, by the way. And you're pushing away love, and you're pushing away opportunity, and you're pushing away all the divine, beautiful things of life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just that gift. It's literally you're pushing away all these other things with your energy. We want to receive. And I know it, trust me, I was the worst at receiving. I tore my ACL about a year and a half ago, and I couldn't walk. And I literally felt guilty I couldn't even call my friend. My friend had to call me, hey, what are you doing? Hey, Hans. And I'm like, I can't walk. And they came and picked me up and literally had to like physically pick me up. And I felt so guilty to even receive that. A lot has shifted. And there's always work to do. Like I do this work every day, live it, I embody it. Because I know how powerful it is. But just remember that whenever it's like, okay, I'm not only pushing away this thing, I'm pushing away it all.
Well, I'm gonna really think about that and be like, okay, do I really want to push this thing away? No, I don't. No.
And it's the same with love too. When we push away love, we're not just pushing away love, we're pushing away receiving of everything, because it's like a flow, right? It's like if there's a kink in the hose, it can't flow. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense. Maybe something just came up. I'm like, I got to journal this before I forget.
I was like, I have to say, okay, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Chance, for your amazing questions. More divine masculine men in this work, guys.
All right. Thank you very much, Jill. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Likewise. Have a beautiful rest of your night. Say bye to Jax for me. Or hi, I mean. I don't know why I said bye.
Okay, will do.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Hello, Sacred Soul. I hope you loved that episode. And if you did, I would so appreciate if you could share and tag me on the social medias at Jill Alana Nixon. And if this brought you value, I would be eternally grateful if you could leave a 5-star review. And if you did, take a picture and email it to teamjillalananixon@gmail.com, and we will gift you a free cord cutting soul revival mini activation, a Jai activation. Put that in the show notes, the email, and thank you so much. We will see you again next week on the Prosperity Portal podcast.